time. All right. So we talked earlier, it was earlier this week, I think, that I was talking about the fact that Trump has defeated, for now, the Democrat media, which is most of the mainstream media. But it's even better than that. He now has them on self-defeat. They're now defeating themselves. I mean, did you see that Rachel Maddow thing? It was like she went down. You know, here's the thing. The mainstream media is so insulated, so inside this bubble, that it has created this entire fantasy world. We were just joking about the Russian thing. When you really study this Russian scandal, there is no there there. They keep saying, well, they hacked the election. Hacked the election. Nobody hacked the election. They hacked some emails. They sent some emails out. I'm sure it had very, very little effect on who people were voted for. People are much smarter than that. So they didn't hack the election. Didn't happen. Total fantasy. As far as we know, there's no, insidious connection between the Trump campaign and the Russians. So that's a fantasy. So now they have this thing. He didn't turn in his tax returns. And my guess, to be honest with you, is that Trump didn't turn in his tax returns because he's not as wealthy as he says he is, because he makes such a big, deal about how wealthy he is, and so maybe he only has a few $1 billion. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, once you've got $1 billion, once you go from the M to the B, you've kind of crossed that line. So Rachel Maddow gets 2 pages of Trump's 2005 tax returns. This is now 12 years ago, right? And she, at 7:30 at night, she tweets out, "Breaking! We've got Trump tax returns tonight, 9 p.m. ET, MSNBC." And then in parentheses, seriously. Now, so now, finally, after going on, I don't know how long she went on, but it seemed forever, Rachel takes out. You'd think she hadn't read it. It looked like she hadn't read it. She takes out these 2 pages of a 12-year-old tax return, and here's the big reveal.
What I have here is a copy of Donald Trump's tax returns. We have his federal tax return for 1 year, for 2005. I believe this is the only set of the president's federal taxes that reporters have ever gotten a hold of. What we have are these 2 pages, front and back, from the same 1040 form that you might have filled out when you file your taxes. And in terms of what's on here, let me give you the basics. Aside from the numbers being large, these pages are straightforward. He paid $38 million, looks like $38 million in taxes. He took a big write-down of $103 million. More on that later. If you add up the lines for income, he made more than $150 million in that year. Mazel tov. We got these pages. We got this document today from a Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative journalist who's better on financial matters than almost anybody else in the business. His name is David K. Johnston. These pages turned up the other day in his mailbox.
He paid $38 million in taxes on 100. That is more tax. First of all, it's more taxes than Comcast pays. It is. It's a higher tax rate than Obama paid. That's like close to a quarter of his income, which raises the question in my mind: how did the government get to own 1/4 of anybody's time? How do you get to own 1/4 of anybody's time? It makes you 1/4 a slave. I mean, it's like, how did that happen? How are we getting into that debate? So even CNN, and this is a wild cut. This is not the. Here it is, number 1. Here's CNN panel, right? All liberals, and listen to the assumptions in here. Even they are going like, oh boy, this was a big bust. Listen to this.
Here's reality. If all we get tonight is that Donald Trump paid $38 million to America's government, that's a good night for Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. There's just really no way. Like, I was hoping and praying that it would show not only did he pay no taxes, he actually charged the government and got money back. I wanted something I could get excited
and
about.
What you wanted is that he was paid in rubles.
Exactly.
That's what you were hoping for.
But you know what would be amazing about that is that when the New York Times got the 1995 taxes, the big headline was $960 million deduction that allows Donald Trump to not pay any taxes
forever,
potentially for 18 years.
Yeah.
So if 10 years later he's paying $38 million, and Trump at the debate essentially said that story was right.
Right. He said that makes me smart.
That makes me smart. So he was actually bragging.
Smart, right?
So this shows that maybe actually he paid more tax than he's previously admitted to.
It's great. And what I love about this, is even they don't know it, but they're actually making fun of themselves. I mean, Anderson Cooper said, we were hoping he was paid in rubles. And Van Jones is saying, I was hoping and praying. Why are you hoping and praying that the president is a tax cheat? Because you stink. Because you are living in a fantasy world of fantasy scandals. Hope